Stand our feet as close in toward our sit bones as we comfortably can. And now let's press one heel out of the ground. So we go onto the ball of that foot. How high can we press the heel, feeling the big toe side of the ball of the foot grounding? Set that one down and press the other heel out of the ground. And we're just going to alternate sides a few times. Should feel pretty easy to stay in a neutral pelvis because it's such a subtle, easy leg movement that's happening. But pressing pretty strongly through the ball of that foot so you'll still feel your calf engage a bit to take that heel high out of the ground. Good. Now, when you go back to that first foot, we're pressing the heel out of the ground, so we have the ball of the foot press. Then let's continue and see if we can press onto the tippy toes, and then drop the ball of the foot back down real quick before the foot has a chance to cramp, and then the heel can land. Second side, start with just the heel, pressuring through the ball of the foot, then activate the toes and press to tippy toes on that side. Ball of the foot comes down, and then the heel, couple more rounds. First side, ball, toe tips, ball, heel lands, and ball, toe tips. Good, really working through the foot. Nice, one more round, ball, toes, ball, heel, last one, ball, toes, ball, heel. Good. Okay, let's leave our feet flat. Go ahead and pick the toes up and spread them out so wide and keep them wide and reach them long as we lay them back down. So we have a very active and big footprint. Now let's just do an easy rock side to side across the pelvis a couple times. So you're just noticing the contour of the back of the pelvis, and then just wobble your way back into center. So we really feel the center of the sacrum there clearly. And now a little bit of back and forth pelvic tilting. So let's zip up to go to our flat lumbar. And then let's go the other direction as far as you comfortably can, curling down toward the tailbone, a little bit of arch in the lumbar. So back and forth a few more times there. And feeling how we're going right up and down that center ridge of the sacrum. So staying centered, or kind of reinforcing being centered as we tip back and forth. After your next flat back, then let's just release to neutral sacrum. So we're kind of centered in terms of right, left, and in terms of top, bottom. And we're feeling that so clearly as we go first foot, press to the ball of the foot, press to the tippy toes to roll through the foot and float that leg up to tabletop. But what I want us to focus on is that transition into and out of the ground. So start with just a light toe tap back down to the floor, then ball, then heel. Yeah, so other side, so slow to roll through the foot and slowly take the tip of the toe out of the ground. Yeah. And then just as slowly working through to come back into the ground. So a lot of times without noticing it, we'll kind of jump the foot out of the floor and get it up quickly, because that moment where the foot is barely off the floor, just starting to unweight, that's the greatest demand on the core to maintain our neutral pelvis. So let's really super slow that part down so the core gets to work harder, yeah, in that transitional moment. Yeah, so the very millisecond that the toe tips come out of the ground, really paying attention to your sacrum then. And does it try to shift around in any direction? Or can we stay pinpoint neutral? Yes, looks beautiful. Once you've done your second side another time, then we'll go ahead and relax that. And when you're done with that, go ahead and just give your knees a nice wide hug. And we're in that relaxed version of pelvic tilt, nice flat lumbar into the floor. Let's give ourselves a little rock side to side, massaging that. And then go ahead and tip side to press yourself up to sitting. And then grab your ring. And here's what we're gonna attempt, maneuver. Stand the ring in front of one leg. So if you have your neutral hip width alignment, line the pad of the ring up with one of the legs. And then we're gonna see if we can get the ankle on the pad, and then can we have kind of a long leg and just lie back on our back so we land with a straight-ish leg perched on the ring out there. Might take some fidgeting to find that. Yeah. Now, as you first land, you might press your elbows into the floor and kind of pick your rib cage up and pull it away from your pelvis so that we're sure we have, the longest possible lumbar where we've landed. Now take a moment to relax that long leg completely, so it's passive leg hanging out on the ring. And we're mostly gonna let the leg just be heavy out there, but if you feel any sensation behind the knee by hanging straight, you could put just a tiny micro bend into the knee, just so it's not hanging and feeling stressed out. So see what you need to do there. Arms are long by the sides. Now this bent leg, let's do just a small little lean across, lean open, just enough that you feel it rock your sacrum right to left in a really subtle way. And then same thing, find the spot where you are in the exact middle of your sacrum, and we'll rest there. Activate your zipper muscles, so we know we're also gonna stay neutral in terms of top to bottom. And now we're gonna do that slow roll through the foot of the bent leg. So we're going ball, toe, on our way up to tabletop. Be sure you find that moment of balance of thigh bone over hip socket, and then really take your time, light toe tip landing, softly roll through the foot. Yes. So let's just keep practicing that, and we're noticing. Do we notice the mid-back getting pulled out of the floor at all in that transitional moment? Maybe we need our full abdominal wall activation to be just a little stronger, so we don't feel like there's any tugging on our neutral spine out of position. What about those neck cords? Is there any tension that we feel developed really anywhere in the neck as we transition in and out of the ground? That might tell us we need a little bit more pelvic floor and low belly activation, right? Remember that mirroring principle. If the pelvis isn't doing it, the neck and jaw will try to. And then what about that long leg? Do you feel like it's kind of bouncing or wobbling on the ring? So that tells us that maybe that other leg is making up for a little bit that the core could be doing instead. Yes, good. One more time. This looks great. Next time that foot lands down on the floor, go ahead and let it stay there. And now let's float the hands back behind the head and really behind the top of the neck, like the skull to neck connection. Let's really support right there. We see the elbows in our peripheral view. And with our exhale, we're gonna peel our shoulder blades out of the ground, trying to leave the lower body totally quiet. Inhale, lengthen back. So this will be one of our, somewhat limited ab curls where we're trying to let the pelvis stay pretty neutral rather than feeling like we have a pelvic tilt and a totally flat lumbar. So we're isolating the upper. Yes, good. And the next time we curl up, let's stay up. Let's rotate toward the bent knee. Come back up high in the middle and come down. And we'll repeat that a few times, curling up the middle, rotate. As you come center, be sure you're really dropping your chin into your throat. Stay open at that head to neck connection. And again, curling up, rotating over, pelvis stays perfectly still. Center lift and down. One more time, we're coming up. Let's twist and stay. Opposite arm comes across. Let's go pinky to outer thigh. So it's like our saw. Let's reach out an inch farther. Back an inch. Forward hold, back hold. Yeah, little freezes. Reach and back. Exhale. Inhale, two more. One more, reach, hold. Stay right there with the torso. Gather that hand back to the head. One more, high center lift. And relax down from there. Release the head and neck. Maybe do a little rotation. Gorgeous. Awesome. All right, maybe move your flat foot off to the side a little bit so it doesn't get guillotined as we drop the ring. There we go. Good, good, good. Okay, let's take a knee hug and just rock around a little bit. Soften everything up. And then again, let's rock side to come up to sitting. And let's set up for our other side with all that. So again, if you kind of look at your hip width parallel, be sure you're lining the pad up with that second leg, so we're in our hip alignment, and then just wiggle your way down to the mat. And once you land, maybe the rib cage can travel even a little farther away from the pelvis, so we're really elongated. Yeah. Take a moment. Our flat standing foot is in pretty close to the sit bone, and we're first going to let this long leg really hang, releasing the hip flexor fully. And again, if you have any sensation at all in the back of the knee, that's when we'd want to just put a little micro bend in there. Otherwise, it can continue to hang. Nice long reach through the fingertips along the mat, open collarbones. And let's find our core activation so we can go ball of the foot, tippy toes on our way up to tabletop. And light toe tap first and really control the roll through the foot. Yeah. So we're taking as long as we can in that transition up and down, because that gives us information. It's going to be in the transition when we feel neck tension pop up, or maybe those low ribs get tugged out of the floor a little bit. Maybe the long leg feels a little bouncy on the ring. So all of those things are cues to just cinch things up a little tighter at the center, so the whole rest of the body can remain at rest. Couple more times. This looks great. Nice heavy head, long neck, beautiful. Good. All right, next time that foot lands flat, we'll leave it there. Hands come to the head, neck. And first just curling right up the middle and rolling back down long. And can we feel that the sacrum is staying center, both right to left and top to bottom as we're curling the upper half. Next time you curl up, feeling one of those lower ribs really press the mat, let's rotate toward the bent knee. Come onto that same rib as we come back to the center and lengthen back. And curling up, little pause at the top. Rotate, tiny pause there. Center, tiny pause there. Yeah, so we're being really clear in each position. Yeah, really it's the same, we're in all fours. We have the TheraBand. We're pushing the rib into the TheraBand. Really looking for that same rib to try to press the mat in our high curl. All right, on the next one, we're going to come up and rotate and stay there. Reach the opposite arm across pinky to outer thigh. So actually making contact there, and then reach 1 inch farther along it, 1 inch back only. Exhale, reach, freeze. Inhale, back, hold. Yeah, so that little bit of stillness in each position. Yeah, so we know we really own that range of motion. 2 more. Leg is still heavy on the ring. All right, reach out and hold. Stay right where you are with the spine as we gather that hand back to the head. Can we come high to the center, really push on that low rib, and rest down from there. Good. Ground foot wiggles out of the way so we can drop the ring and maybe nudge it off to the side of the mat and go ahead and take that knee hug. Fantastic. Could turn that into a half happy baby. Again, just a little rock around, super soft lower back, lower ribs. And then let's go ahead and just take a quick tip onto one side and take one quad hip opener. Give it a couple of breaths there. And we were working hip flexion a lot as we rolled the foot into and out of the floor. So can we really feel that hip crease get to open up in addition to whatever we feel in the thigh? Give that one more breath. Great. And just tumble on over to the other side. Coming back, holding, breathing, and seeing if you can sense exactly where the hip crease is, and then we're opening and lengthening through it. and then releasing out of there, rolling on.